Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Finding the Joy is in the Journey. Now, Finding the Joy in the Journey is actually the new title. It came to me, and I know it was spirit guided, that we've always been called the joy is in the journey. And that's something that I've been very passionate about. And, you know, it it's knowing that it's finding the joy. The joy's always been there. It never went anywhere. We were born with it. It's an inherent quality of life. We are born with all of those unchangeables, including joy. But it's up to us to find it. So that's what this show does, is it helps people find their joy. There's so many different modalities. There's so many different things to study and ways and blessings. And that's what we do here is I meet with people that fascinate me, that make me smile and bring out joy in the world. And today I have somebody that especially does that in his own unique way. And I'm so grateful to have. Today, the person that's with us is a practitioner and has been in Science of Mind for over 30 years and has been, this blows my mind, a practitioner, a licensed practitioner for 16 and serves in so many ways. Now, being a practitioner in general is amazing, wonderful, but this person served at the home office level, in the international level. He served on the World Ministry of Prayer for 10 years, and he served the home office as a liaison to the Diversity Commission. And, this is on our national level. This is a person that I have seen. He's written in the Science of Mind magazine regularly. He shows up there, and it's been over 14 years of that. He walks his talk, and he has a weekly podcast that he's going to tell us about that I'm so grateful that we're going to have this conversation about. It's called with Reverend Lane Cobb, and the show is called Race Talk Revolution. And it is absolutely a gift for me to have practitioner and wonderful human being, Eugene Holden, here with me today. Hello, how are you, magnificent one?
I am good, Gina. How are you doing today?
I'm well. And when I first asked him that earlier, I got this beautiful answer. Like, you were just so happy to be alive.
Absolutely. Life is good. Life is good. No matter what, no matter what, to me, life is good. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and life is good. As I said earlier, right? I have this saying that I am. Oh, that's what we were talking about. If we're not in awe, we're not paying attention.
I love that.
If we're not in awe, we are not paying attention. The other saying that I have is, I am never surprised, but always amazed. I am never surprised at how spirit, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, I am never surprised at how it works, but I am always amazed. This stuff is amazing. Yeah, it's good to be here.
We get to pay attention. We get to pay attention to that or not.
Or not.
We can be distracted. We can absolutely be distracted in so many ways.
Yeah.
Or we can pay attention.
Pay attention.
We can have spiritual practices that ground us in truth and give us that ability to have the lenses of truth.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Good
grateful
stuff.
for that. I really and truly am. And I was saying, one of the things that this feels very full circle for me and as a gift, you were on my mock panel when I was a practitioner studying and here I am in my, going into my last semester of ministerial school. So what a gift it is to be here with you now. And, I feel it's a very full circle moment for me. Thank you for that guidance way back when. And thank you for the guidance that you give so many now. What is it like? What was it like being on the World Ministry of Prayer? Knowing that you were speaking for, so many of us out there all over the world.
It was such a wonderful experience. It taught me so much about me, right? There's the story of how I got into the World Ministry of Prayer is amazing. It goes back even to when I was in class, in practitioner class. I remember this one particular week in Prac 2, we were speaking about prayer, and I sat back in my chair, I crossed my arms, and I was like, this doesn't work for me. It may work for you guys, but prayer doesn't work for me. I was just a little upset about that. But as time went on, and, so fast forward, right? And I licensed through Agape in 2005. And then I got hired under Home Office in 2007 with the World Ministry of Prayer. And my job at that time was in the administration, right? And so, but what would happen is and at that time at the World Ministry of Prayer, when we were in Burbank, California, we had it's amazing, Gina. The World Ministry of Prayer at the time was in operation 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. It was great. So during my working hours, I do my admin stuff. But when a practitioner, and there were 6 practitioners on the phones at all times, 6, 4 to 6 at all times. And whenever one of them would have to take a break, well, then I would, cover for them and would get on the phones and pray. Now, what's interesting about that is that I could pray with 10 people in an hour, right? So it's like, and so it is. Click. Thank you for calling World Ministry of Prayer. It was just like this. Now, what I recognized was that roughly about 75% of the people who called in for prayer didn't go to a center. They didn't know what science of mind and spirit was. Didn't know what religious science was, but they knew that this form of prayer worked. And that's what had me start to ask questions. Why does this work? And that's when I began to really dive deep into who I was as an instrument of prayer. And then I allowed myself to, it's not that I pray the prayer. It's not that I do the prayer now. The prayer does me. I am just there to be the vehicle and then the vessel. What I tell people is that I love prayer because I love the way it makes me feel. I just get out of the other way. And there was one particular caller who called in every single day, 3 or 4 times a day. And on one of those times when I was doing the break, or when I was filling in for a practitioner on their break, the phone rings and I pick it up, and this one caller, and he goes through what he wants prayer for. And so it is. Hang up the phone. Phone rings. It's someone else. We do the prayer, and so it is. Hang up the phone. Pick up the phone, and it's the same guy from 2 calls prior, and he's asking for the same exact thing. Right? Okay, great. We do the prayer. Hang up, and so it is. I pick up the phone on the next call, and it's the same guy. Right? And I take the phone down and I say to myself, doesn't he get this? Spirit said to me, it's not for him to get, it's for you to get. Changed my whole thing. And I am so grateful to him for that. And that was 2007. Right. And I remember that as if it was this morning. And so prayer is for me a way of life. And ever since then, I started doing workshops about prayer. Right. And then that turned into a 6-week class and different iterations of that class. Now it's called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, the Scientific Art of Prayer. So there will be a new 6-week class coming out the beginning of next year.
I love it. I love it. You'll have to let us know when that is, and we'll let people know about it. You can come back on and tell us a little bit. We'll talk a little bit more about it. I'd love that.
Yeah.
And it's so true that what's coming into our lives is our consciousness that drew it. Right. So if things keep showing up, whether we want them or not, we're bringing them in again and again and again. And it's easy to blame someone else. It's easy to say, well, why is this and why do they? But it's never about they. It's always about me.
Yeah.
What is it that I need to learn that I'm not learning yet?
Right. And those are great questions, right? That's a great question. And another form of that is, what good have I not seen yet? Where's the good in this situation that I've not seen yet? But what that does, those types of questions, Gina, as you know, right, it makes us look for it, right? Yeah, yeah. Which, takes me to race talk, right?
And I
Because
definitely let's delve into that. Like let's
yeah,
really delve into this. And I want to show the picture of this, and it's so important. And as soon as I saw you sent out in listserv, you had sent out this, you know, basically letting us know it was there, and I was so grateful. Immediately I replied to the email and I said, you need to come on the show and we need to have this important conversation,
yeah,
because I am I've been looking for the perfect person to have that conversation with, because I know it's so important. And I also know and trust that you do it in a way that is a common conversation that lovingly brings out everything that needs to be in a universal language of love.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Whew, man, yeah.
It
So
is the name of again, Race Talk Revolution, and that is with Reverend Lane and with it yourself. And it
right.
is on Wednesdays, correct? I'm just going to put that up there again.
Yes, Wednesdays from 12 to noon. I mean, from 12 to noon. How about 12 noon Eastern time? And
And
there's in that tiny URL link. That's where people go to register to come onto the show as as a participant. And it's a great show.
so
So
I just want to make sure we will put that up again later on as well. If you're watching this and you want to take a screenshot, that's a great way to have, that way you can get the information, but I will show it again later on. I just want to make sure, it's so important. This conversation is, to say it's universal doesn't even begin, but
yeah,
it's too important not to discuss.
yeah,
And, you know, for too long, any kind of shadow that we are not putting out in the sunlight of the spirit sanitizes and cleans it all away. And whatever's not out in the light will continue to hold us back. So
right.
let's shine some light.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So let me tell you how Race Talk Revolution, and the full name is Race Talk Revolution with Lane and Eugene, and how that started. I met Reverend Lane Cobb a couple of years ago through a mutual friend of ours, and after the murder of George Floyd, Lane gave me a call and said, "Listen, we have to do something." She said, "Spirit has been on my heart that I have to do something, and it said to call you." And so, what I want to do, Eugene, is I want to provide a platform for people to come and talk about what they're feeling regarding racism in America. And so that's how it began. It was started so that people can come and talk about what they felt, what's going on in their lives around this, with all that was going on in 2020, 2019, 2018, 1960, whatever it is, because the racism, in America has been going on for centuries. But after the George Floyd, murder, we wanted to provide a space where people can come and just share their hearts. And then Lane and I realized that we're not experts, so we decided to look for people who were experts in their field regarding about how racism in their field affects people within the field. For example, how racism, oh man, the school to prison pipeline, right, where people of color, black and brown and people of color, the system is set up in such a way where they are taking young high school kids who have nowhere else to go, and then there's crime that's going on, and all of this is systemic, to the nation. People just don't know that, and those young kids go from school age kids to prison. So we have experts who come and talk about that. The email or the link that I shared on the practitioners listserv, the one that you saw, it was a show that we had a guest on who was oh come on, her she's a direct descendant of Pendleton is his last name. And he was one of the founding fathers of America and was a proponent to having slavery put into the Constitution. So she does this film about that because she was in the show. You'll hear her talk about as she was growing up. She knew that something was wrong with this, but then as she grew up and she grew up and went to college and began doing films, and so she wanted to do the research on her family, and the things that she found out just hurt her heart, and it was that pain in her heart that had her wanting to talk about this. It was a great show, and every week I say, God, that was a great show, because we've had police lieutenants come on and talk about racism within their police department. I mean, that takes courage, right? But here's the thing, right? We are in 2021, going into 2022, and we are still dealing with this issue of race. And what we want to really shine light on is number one, yes, it is still alive, right? Racism is still alive. And people are also waking up to the fact that this no longer works, which is why, in my opinion, why there's so much turmoil going on. There's this gospel song called "Waiting in the Water," waiting in the water, right? And the end line is God's going to stir up the water, right? So there's all this stuff going on, but it's spirit that's stirring it up, as you said earlier, right? We want to bring stuff into the light so that it can be healed. It can be healed. So Race Talk Revolution provides the platform for people, and we have 45 to 60 people come on each week who are wanting to learn, who are wanting to have a conversation about how do we get involved with the healing of this systemic disease, this dis-ease, right? That was created to keep us apart, that was created to keep us from talking. It's an amazing experience.
Is there a
Yeah.
way to watch some of your past episodes?
Yes. You can go to our YouTube page, and that's race. Just go to YouTube and put in Race Talk Revolution, right?
Beautiful.
Also, you can find out more about us on our website, www.racetalkrevolution.com. Again, that's www.racetalkrevolution.com.
We've got that right here. So it's actually, that's not even on there. Okay.
No, it's not. That's why I wanted to say it twice, right?
Okay.
So the tiny URL that you see there, that's where they go to register to come into the show. Right.
Okay.
But speaking about the show and the platform, because we are here to teach, right? We're here to provide a space where people can talk. I'm sorry, I'm on a show right now. Call back. Where people can talk about what's going on and learn how they can get involved. So we are doing a training this coming weekend called "What's Ours to Do." What's ours to do? And you can register for that through the website www.racetalkrevolution.com/events, right?
Well, they can
there's
just go to the main website. I'm sure there'll be a link,
yes,
right?
yep, events. Go to the events tab. We have limited space. We're only having 22 people on. It is an online workshop from 12 to 6 Eastern time. And Lane and I were working on the agenda today. We've been working on it for the past 2 weeks. And it's going to be a really powerful experience. And it is really asking, so what's ours to do? And then the other question we have is, what's yours to do? Right? What's mine to do? What motivates me or what motivates you to get involved? Because when we talk about it when we talk about it from a spiritual standpoint, and for me, everything is spiritual,
Hmm.
You've heard, the saying that we are human beings having a spiritual experience. I go, no, we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience on the spiritual plane called Earth, because it's all coming from spirit, right? So it's the spirit within us, the spirit of love, that has us wanting to talk about this, because there's something within most of us that are saying, this doesn't work. This is no longer working. Yeah.
And I think it's so important to come up with this common conversation because unfortunately it's so impassioned, rightly so, but it's so impassioned that sometimes what comes out pushes away the people that need to hear it the most.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's so important. It's not about right or wrong, and it's not about it's never about minimizing it. But we need to have a conversation that we're all participating in
Right.
at a space that we can meet each other in common conversation.
Yeah.
You can't teach someone, you know, college courses when they haven't learned the alphabet.
Right. Right.
And trying to force it all in at once pushes people away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's learning how to be on platforms like this and say, we know it went on for, it's still going on and it needs to
Right.
stop. And
Right.
it is gradually getting better. We're in the
Right.
right direction because we're
Yes.
having this conversation more and more and in more places. And there's people like you that are stepping up and pulling people together in loving ways to make a
Yes.
positive change. And that's what we're here to do, is just to support that in any and every way. So
Yes.
I would even love to have you and Reverend Lane on again, talking about that and telling me about some past episodes, some of the different shows you've had and points you've had, or even talking about your workshop when you're
Yeah.
done. I would love to hear about that because
Yeah.
this is so important. And the fact that it came out, so it flowed. Well, what do we do? Let's just do it. You didn't
Right.
wait to figure it out. You did
Mm-mm.
it, and spirit guides you along the way. When you're
Right.
called to an action, get up and do it, whatever that action may be.
Yeah.
So often in life, people are waiting for somebody else to be the change they wish to see.
Mm.
Look in the mirror. Your spirit,
Mm.
you're it. Create
Yeah.
the magic.
Yeah.
You have the universe at your back and at your fingertips with all that goes along with it. With your voice, that spirit's voice. What do
Yeah.
you have to say?
Yeah. One of the taglines that we have on Race Talk Revolution, and I make sure to say it every week on Race Talk Revolution. Well, let me do this one first. Is how the platform is set up, and I say this every week, is that this platform is designed where we practice radical inclusive love, which means that you may not agree with what's being said, but we want to listen so that we may learn. Right? And the tagline on Race Talk Revolution is "Your voice matters." And that's so very important because, Gina, just like you said, people sometimes believe that they don't have anything to say, but we all have something to say, right? Spirit recreated itself as each and every one of us for a purpose, for a purpose. So we get to ask the question, why am I here? Right? What is within me that's wanting to be birthed? And then listen to it. And then, as Prince said, get up, come on, let's do something. Yeah. Get up, come on, let's do something. Yeah.
There's someone here asking if we accept callers, and we don't. But we don't have a phone line. But you can send us whatever message you want. We definitely are accepting questions. By all means, whatever it is, we are live. So whatever questions you have, whatever comments, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, please.
That's what we are here for. We are here for
Yeah.
this conversation.
Yeah. So it was interesting, Gina, right? Because and it was just recently where I recognized, because of the work that I've been doing, through, new thought, science of mind, in Taoism, but I've been in spiritual traditions. I've been, involved in a lot of them for, a long, long, long time. And what I recognized within the last 2 or 3 months is I was still unconsciously, until it became conscious, I was still trying to separate, for example, race talk revolution from my spirituality, right? Talk about, and but then I teach there's no separation, but I'm finding I found that I was trying to separate those two. I'm like, wait a minute, you can't do that. Until then I began looking at Gandhi, looking at Martin Luther King, looking at Malcolm X, right, and looking at Mother Teresa, and all of them were doing this social activism, this social justice work based on and founded in their spiritual beliefs.
That's
Right?
what it's
It's like,
all about. It's
yeah,
like, where's your passion? That's your ministry.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
everybody. You don't have to go to any kind of school. You were born with all that within you. It's not about that. You've got a passion. That's your ministry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, all of us, now this, it's not crude, it's just science, right? Out of the billions of sperm cells that went to that egg, you were the one who made it for a purpose. For a purpose, right? So we are here on purpose. Now, we are
On
here on
purpose,
purpose.
for purpose, with purpose.
Exactly. On purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose. That's right. So we are here. So then the question is, again, we want to ask empowering questions instead of, oh, why is me? Why? Oh, why me? Woe is me. No, why not you? And the empowering question is, what's wanting to come forth through me? And then have the courage to listen.
Spirit,
Because
we are the hands, heart, voice. We are the love of divine. We have to show, we are the physical embodiment of that universal presence. So it
absolutely.
has to come through someone's mind. Someone has to say the words. Someone has to express the love. Someone has to do and be that in human form. And
Yeah.
whatever is coming to you is meant to come through you. And
Right.
when we hold that back, we get dis-ease.
Right.
When you are not living your life of purpose, I have been a life coach probably my whole life, really. I was born that way. But
Right.
over a decade, I've been doing this. And if you are not living your purpose, you're going to get sick. If
Yeah.
you are not living the life you're meant for, there is dis-ease happening within you. If you
Yeah.
are not, something's going to give, and it's going to be you. And
Right.
I know that from personal experience. For me, it was
Right.
a dozen tumors in my kidneys. For me. It took cancer to knock me down, to stop me to start again in a whole
To
new
build
direction.
up. Yeah.
So I always tell people, don't. I don't want you to get sick. Take my experience and trust me on that one.
Right. Right.
Get out of the dis-ease, and that's a
Yeah.
mindset that
Yes.
is, if there's joy within you. If you're not experiencing that joy, well, let's go. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Exactly.
So if you're
One
not
of my
experience freedom, that's what we're talking about.
right. Yeah. One of my favorite films is the Shawshank Redemption. Right. One of my favorite films. And there was a line in there, well, a bunch of lines, but there was a line that Andy said, Robert Robbins' character, as he came out of the hole, and he's sitting on the ground up against the wall, and Morgan Freeman's character comes up to him, and Tim Robbins, he sat there and he thought, and he gets up and he says this. He said, you can either get busy living or get busy dying. Right? It's like, wow. And for me, what that means is to get busy living is living your joy, living your passion, tapping into what curls your toes, what brings you, what brings you life, what breaks your heart. Going back to race talk, right? Because one of the workshop questions is what motivates you, what inspires you, what breaks your heart. Because what breaks our heart makes us want to change that. Right? Yeah, man. We're
We're either
here.
expanding or we're shrinking. We are in an expansive universe. So you are either expanding as life or you are shrinking from it. And you know, I always say your emotions are your rumble strip. I say that all the time. That if you're happy, you're going in the right direction.
Right.
If you're not happy, if there's something in you that is discontent, you're on that rumble strip of life and you need to center.
Right. Right. It's an interesting thing, right? We are, as I was saying with my client this morning, if we're not in awe, we're not paying attention. And as divine human beings, we are divine human beings and humanly divine. We have been endowed with a lot of gifts, right? Imagination is one. But the one I like to talk about most of all is the gift of choice. Because we get to choose not just what we wear, not just what we eat, not just where to go. More importantly, we get to choose what we think. And it's thinking that creates our reality. Thinking coupled with our feeling tone behind those thoughts, that's what creates our reality. So, what do you choose to experience? And then keep your mind on that. As scripture says, keep your eye single. And when the eye is single, your body will be filled with light. It's just so much with this ancient wisdom that's still relevant today. Still relevant
There's
today.
only one. Wisdom is wisdom. It comes from that one. It's, are we paying attention? And
Yeah.
we get to choose. And when we know what's ours, when we know what breaks us open, that's when we say, okay, so what do I do with that? That's the next step. Once you know, you say, now what? And sometimes we don't want to take it, like, really. I know for me, I never planned to go to ministerial school. There was never a part of me ever that thought for a second that this would be my life.
Well, there was a part. Yeah, there was a part. You just didn't know it.
I always felt like I should have been somewhere else in my life. Always, even as a life coach, I was doing a bunch of things. I had my own business. I had a job that I loved. I had all these things going on. And I always felt like I should have, would have, could have been somewhere else until I got to ministerial school. So when you get where you're meant to be, that feeling goes away.
Yeah.
That would have, could have, should have already goes away. It's the only thing that there was not. All of a sudden, that feeling of, but I should have already, because I had done a lot of things.
Right.
But I didn't feel like it.
Right.
All of a sudden, I look back, hey, I haven't felt that in a while. And I was doing, technically on the outside, less than I'd done before, ever. Yet I felt fulfilled in a way that nothing ever had. Because I began living from the inside out.
Right.
Instead of just from the outside in.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant. I thought I did.
Right.
Until I listened to the divine guidance within me and took that leap of faith. And even then, it was with the, well, I'll do it, but you need to do this. Right. I'll do it, but you need to make this possible.
Right.
Yes, it was trying to bargain with. And
Yeah.
the sense of humor, I'll tell you, that God has with me, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
But, there's something within you that knows.
Right.
Trust it.
You had mentioned, that divine something within you, right? So for the listeners, sometimes, we hear phrases like that divine voice within, and sometimes people may go, but I don't know what that is. Another just simple word is intuition. Listen to your intuition. Yes, men, we have intuition. We all do. Yeah. Yeah. Imagination is another gift. Imagine what the world would be like when everybody, not if, but when everybody comes from a place of love, right? Imagine what the world would be like if everybody thought, ooh, I want them to have what I want. And because everybody wants, Gina, everybody basically wants the same thing. They want love. They want to be loved. They want peace. They want joy. They want food. They want housing. They want water to drink. Everybody wants the same things because there's only one. There's only one life here. As Dr. Holmes says, right? There's only one life. That life is God's life. Now, let me just stop right there, because sometimes that word God may flip a trigger or push a button, but you can change the name: God, love, universal intelligence. Okay, I'm going to still use the word God. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. I'm going to stop there because the definition of perfect is complete and whole, nothing missing. And that life is my life now. So when we start to really practice that, when we start to make that a daily practice, a daily way of living, then we start to experience what our mind and our consciousness is bringing forth. Yeah. So prayer for me is not something that we just do on Sundays or working with clients. Those 5 principles, those 5 steps, those principles, these are ways of living. Imagine, Gina, what it would be like to live recognizing that all of our needs are met. To recognize, oh, wait a minute. Imagine what it would be like to be one with all needs met. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
It's life itself is the prayer. What we do, what we say, what we think about. Life itself is the prayer. And there's no wrong way.
Right.
It's
Not
just that some do it consciously and some are living unconsciously.
right.
And we live in a society that is very unconscious, and it's all about bigger, better, faster, more. And it's something that I call destination happiness. Well, when I have, then I can do that. Well, once I've got enough money in the bank, then I can take time to do the cause that I want to. But right now I need to work. I need to make sure, as if doing spirit's work isn't going to be fulfilling. Spirit is going to provide where, you're providing, therefore spirit provides. There's infinite source. It's not just your job. Source is an amazing thing. It can
Right.
come through any way you allow it in. When I
Yeah.
plug in my lamp that's turning on this light beside me, it works because I plugged it in. The one beside it that I didn't plug in is never going to work because I didn't allow that flow.
And the
So
flow is still there.
it's always available. So
Right.
are we allowing the flow of life through us? Because
Yeah.
when we do, it comes alive in incredible ways.
Yeah. You were saying that life is the prayer. I want to add one word. Life is the answered prayer. It truly is. It's an amazing thing. I've come across people who, feel like, life owes me. Life owes us nothing because life has given us everything. It's given us, life. We owe life. We want to give back, what we've been given, and we've been given a gift. And what makes a gift, Gina, is it's given away. So we get to find our gifts and then share that with the world. And the
I
world
love
can
this.
be,
That's
and
the law of circulation. Giving activates receiving.
yeah, 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 give, but I don't have anything to give. Yeah, you do. Give your smile.
I have someone that prays for me every day. This woman that is just this most amazing woman, and she prays for me every day and has done this for me for the longest of times. And I can't tell you, when I think about it, it brings tears to my eyes
Yeah,
that she would commit a day to me.
yeah,
May
yeah,
all my happiness go to her today.
right?
Imagine that prayer. Like, can you imagine in your heart really giving someone, may all my happiness and good go to this person today?
Yeah,
Like, to me, do you know what I'm saying?
speechless.
Like, it
Yeah,
really, like, it's that's a gift.
it's a
Like,
gift.
she dedicates to me.
It's a gift.
Like, that's love. That
Yeah, it is.
we're in a society that unfortunately looks at the tangibles and what are you getting? But when you give someone that level of love, that you literally, my love is with you today.
Yeah,
I am
yeah,
here. I am present. And I am praying with you today. When you pray with that intention and you receive with that intention, you are fulfilled.
you brought up a great thing, right? When you receive with that
Mm.
intention, right? And we're getting into what I call the holy days, right? So because holiday is really a word that's made up of the two words holy days.
Mhm.
And so we get into this, December, and we remember growing up hearing it is better to give than to receive, right?
Both are great.
You can't have one without the other. But what happens is that the the underlying message in that is that I'm not supposed to receive. So people, when you really start looking at it, have a difficult time receiving. For example, you pay a person a compliment. It's hard for them to receive that, generally speaking, right? Oh no, no, thank you, but so are you. We are so quick to push it off
If you
because
can't accept a compliment, the universe can't give you anything.
right.
Like,
So what
what
we
else
want
are
to
you
do,
pushing away if you can't
man,
ask for help?
receive your compliment, receive
Yes.
any gift that anybody wants, receive it all. Say yes, because the more we say yes, the more we get to give.
And
The
ask
more we get to
for it.
receive. Yeah.
Ask for what you
Oh man,
need. Be
ask for what.
specific. That is the biggest, one of the greatest lessons I've learned in my life. If I am not being understood and I am not receiving, it may very well be because people had all of my life, I was the caretaker. So no one had a concept that I might need something.
Right.
And I was taught it was selfish to ask.
Right.
So
Selfish
between
too.
the two,
Right.
I was like, what is huh? But
Yeah.
no one ever had a thought that I might need.
Right.
Neither did I. But
Right.
neither did I.
Especially you. Right.
So the gift of knowing that I get to ask, then, simply, and ask people for things as a practice. I tell people, start practicing. Could you bring me that? Whatever that is.
Whatever that
Stop
is.
consciously asking on your
Yeah.
way home, could you bring me this? Or next time you're out, could you find something? Could you, if you see this, consciously making it, it's a homework assignment to ask people to help you with things.
Yeah.
If you're going to be putting on a dinner, can you get here a half hour early and help me just set the table?
Right.
Consciously ask for things. I'm giving you a homework assignment, people. I'm giving you the right, and I'm giving you to allow yourself to open up to spirit in a greater way, because
Yeah.
spirit works through people, and when you start opening the door, that's when the good comes. So you're consciously asking, and you are consciously receiving. Just because you can do something doesn't mean it's yours to do, and doesn't
True.
mean somebody else couldn't benefit by doing it.
Right. Ask for what you want and then be willing to receive it. Yeah. Yeah. Be willing to receive it. And then, then we get to ask the universe for what we want, right? Reverend Ike back in the day would say, be definite with the infinite. Ask for what you want and then know that it is done. Know that, yeah. And it may not show up in this instant, but it's showing up. It's showing up, Just remember to trust that. Remember to trust that. And here's the thing. If I say nothing else of importance for the rest of this time, I want to say this. Be willing to love unconditionally. Which means that I love you no matter what. No matter what you've said or not said, no matter what you've done or not done. Oh, wait a minute. Let me turn that around to myself. Let me love myself unconditionally. No matter what I've said or not said. No matter what I've done or not done.
To be love.
And then
That is my
be
purpose.
love.
That is the purpose of life,
Yeah.
is to be and receive. You can see my pillows in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, to be love. That's what we're here for. You see that pixie dust in the background? That's what it is. We're shining.
Yeah.
And everyone has that within them. And that's your love.
Yeah.
That woman
Yeah.
that prays for me gives me that love.
Yeah.
So
You know.
we have to, those of us that may have gone through something in our childhood
Yes.
or our adulthood or our
Yes.
whatever, that
Yes.
feel like, whatever stuff is the layers that are still there.
Even
We
now.
do,
Yes.
we do, and you can treat and know that it's cleared. Like, you don't have to do the year's worth of work that I did. You can go both ways. Either way works. You can work at it. You can do the work, or you can treat and allow someone to know the truth of you if you can't know it. Allow a practitioner or someone to treat and know the truth of you. That's why I know you do a lot with your practice, as far as with practitioners and as a practitioner with people. The practitioners are here for treatment. That's what we do. And I'm going to put before it gets any later, I'm putting your information up there so that people can reach out to you, because you do private sessions.
I
And
do.
know that.
Yes.
And I want to make sure people know, as amazing as you were as a professional, you were a professional at it for a while.
I still am.
Yes, you are you can have one-on-one sessions, and it's so important, because sometimes we can't see it for ourselves, but someone
Right.
else can help dissolve that seeming blockage,
Yeah.
because they know the truth of you. They
Yeah.
don't care about the story. The story is something we've told ourselves. It's not real. It's just what we hold in place with a story.
Right.
So a
Right.
session gives a person the opportunity to allow. I've known a lot of people that didn't have any faith.
Right.
And I say, do you believe that I believe? And they'll say yes. My husband will call me when something's wrong with the car. And one time he calls me because the car was in second position and he drove to work. He's like, talk to your angels, do what you need to do, because I need to get home. And I said, they hear you too. He's like, oh, it doesn't work for me. So if you need someone else to know for you,
Right.
because sometimes we don't believe our connection's enough.
Right.
So that's when there are no limits to spirit. Anything is possible here and now.
Which means, since there's no separation, right? There's no limit to spirit, which means that there's no limit to us. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so people, they tell these stories. Okay, well, what I want to get you to do is to tell a different story. What story do you want to experience? Whatever it is, you get to say so. Because we are so divinely supported. We truly are. We truly are. It's amazing. If we're not in awe, Gina, we're not paying attention to the power and the presence that is within us. We're not paying attention to the power of our word, and we're not paying attention to the power of our thinking, because it's our thinking that makes it so.
Know who and whose you are. You are that divine child of God. And the whole thing with Reverend Dr. Ian Taylor is who I the majority of my studies with. And he loved the prodigal son.
Yes.
And
Great story.
I was raised Catholic, so I should have known, and I thought I knew it. But the science, basically, the science of mind take on it, like really knowing the truth of it.
Yeah.
Is that, because I used to get mad. Why does that other guy get double does double the amount? That's not fair. And, until I realized life is very fair. It gives exactly what you expect.
Yeah.
It's very fair. It gives exactly what you expect, because you're the thinker. You're the one taking it. The taking is mental. So that first son that went away and he took his share and he did whatever to it, and then comes back and is greeted with more. The second son that's been there all along gets very upset and says, but wait a minute, he already had his share. Because we're looking at it as if there's a limited supply. There is no limit in spirit. You're either awake or you're not. You could have used it. The Father says you could have used it all along. It was always here. You just didn't do anything with it. I never not loved you, but you were always with me.
And this is what I love about that part, right? He goes, because the father says to the other son who goes, you never gave me a party. He says, man, you are always with me, and all that I have is yours.
It always was.
That I have is yours. Yeah, it always was. Yeah, it's great. That parable,
There's,
there's so
there's no
much to
lack.
it.
There's
That's
no
it's
lack.
yeah.
And you realize that, all these years, that one son, the second son, trying to, because that was me trying to do everything for everyone and killing myself in the process, but never enjoying the fruits of life
Yeah.
because I was caught up in the duty of life.
Yeah.
Life is about the beauty, not the duty. It's about being in this place of, in the joyful journey.
Life is about the beauty, not the duty. I heard that. There's so much. There's so many kernels of wisdom in just that one, parable. When the son comes back and goes, Father, I'm so sorry I sinned against you, and the father never even addressed that. Didn't even matter. Didn't even speak to that. Give him a ring. Bring this. Do this. Yeah, I'm like, oh. So that infinite intelligence within us doesn't care where we've been or what we've done. It is just going here. This is yours. All that I have is yours. Here.
There's no ego in spirit. It
No,
doesn't have to
man.
be done one way.
You
I
know,
know if you have adult children, they've done things that have frustrated you
yeah, they
in
still
some
do.
or every way. And the truth is, at the end of the day, all you want to do is love them and make
That's
sure they're
it.
safe.
Yep.
And if I, with an ego, am that way, that I just want them to be safe, I just want to love them and and want them to have it all. If I'm that way with an ego, what is spirit like without? With infinite supply and pure love, there is nothing but good there. And I choose today to experience it. I
Yeah.
choose today, and that's what we're here talking about, is
Yeah.
finding different ways to do that. And when
Right.
you find your calling, when you find that thing, like you said, that breaks you open, answer the call.
Answer the call. Answer the call. Why did you pick up the phone? you know. Yeah. Answer the call. Because if you don't, it's still going to keep doing this. Hello. I'm calling. Hello. And then it starts to bang, and it starts to bang, and it shows up as illness and dis-ease and all of that
It does.
because we haven't answered the call, and we're wondering why we're so pissed off and frustrated because we haven't answered the call. Oh, but I don't want it to sound like that. No, spirit, that's not the answer that I want. Like what? No, answer the call,
No
and
one
then
said it's
trust.
going to be easy.
Well, see, but here's the thing,
It
right?
can be joyful. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's going to be, it's going to go with the flow and you'll have everything that you need. And sometimes it's not always easy, but you get where it can be joyful, but
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
things in life when you look at what's going on. Race Talk Revolution is a beautiful example of that. You get wonderful people together, but I wish you never had to. I wish there was no need for that conversation.
Well, but here it is, right?
So we
So
do. You answer the call. You wish you didn't have to, but it's your call.
Right. So here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that back around in these last few minutes with the Race Talk Revolution. So within the first 2 or 3 months, I got to a point. I was like, this is too hard. This is too hard. It started to bring up stuff because I was doing, the history again that I just let go of systemic racism. That's been going on for thousands of years, Anyway, so I got to a point. It's like, and I told Elaine, you know what? This is my last series. I can't do this anymore. And in a meditation the next day, Spirit goes, Eugene, this is not about you. Gina, once I heard that, then it became easy. Then it became fun. Then it became yes, and the work was the same. The research was the same, but I changed. My consciousness changed. I let go of that ego, going, I don't want to do this. This is too hard. Dude, this has nothing to do with you.
I'll tell you, I opened an email just before I got onto this show, and it was a class that, for a variety of reasons, I'm finishing up and I needed to take this class, and I almost wasn't able. Like, there's a lot of stuff that happened, and for whatever reasons, the bottom line is, my goal was just to pass and get through, and I got an A.
Imagine that.
Like, I mean, literally, there was a no, there was a no, there was a no, and I just started sending in papers anyway,
Yeah.
and and never knowing what's going to come out of it, but doing my part, and I got an A.
Yeah.
And like the miracles can happen in incredible ways. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I didn't have to do the work,
Right.
but the way was made, and it happened.
Yeah.
So you will be amazed with what happens, people. Just do what's yours. Do the next right thing.
Do the
Let
next right
spirit
thing.
do it. Let spirit. The law makes it easy. But
Yeah.
let the law do the work.
Yeah.
You do the foot. You show up and let the law do the work. But it's
There's
hard
a
to believe.
yeah. There's a verse in the Quran that says, "You take one step towards Allah, Allah comes running."
Yes.
Right? And so it's just some beautiful thing. All we are to do,
We
and I
are
love the
actually
word.
running. We are running out of time. So
I know,
I
I
just
know.
I
I'm not.
can't believe I looked up. I'm like, wow, it is
Yeah, I
late.
know. I was like, ooh, yeah, yeah. Gina,
I
thank
want
you so, so very
No, I
much.
want to make sure before anything, I want to make sure that I am race. We want to talk about racetalkrevolution.com, whatever information you need. Make sure people are going here. I also want to make sure people are going to your YouTube station because there's some wonderful shows that I'm sure
Yes,
are incredible. And I want
yes.
just from what you've said, I can't imagine. I need
Oh
to go
man,
there. So it's
yeah,
go to YouTube, Race Talk Revolution.
correct.
You are available as a life coach, and it's so important the work that you're doing. And I appreciate the work that you're doing in the world and have been
Thank
for
you.
so long.
Yeah.
And this is the way on to. You can get there on the website, but also this is the URL to be able to join the conversation on Wednesdays at noon,
Yes,
and that is Eastern time.
that's right.
And I want to make sure that people know, they thank you for what you're bringing out in the world. I want you to know that I appreciate the conversations you're having. And I'm so grateful that when Spirit said, this is for you, not necessarily about you, but
Right?
this is yours. This is
Yeah,
yours to do,
yeah,
that you say yes. And
yeah.
when I contacted you, that you said yes, because that's you. So
Yes.
thank you for that.
You're welcome,
And
Gina.
is there anything final as we're going into the holidays or in general? And I apologize for the bell in the background. You know it's
Oh,
real. There's the kitty bell in the background.
I love
But
it. I love it.
because look at either a child or an animal. They know how to play, right?
Yep, exactly. Oh,
So
so
what
that's
brings you joy? Talk to
I
me.
was
Let your
I was going to
final.
say so what I'm going to leave the audience with, and you
Yes.
just said it. Take the time to play. Take the time to play. Take the time to laugh. Laugh for the sake of laughter,
Yes.
and love you. Love you. Gina, thank you so, so very much. It was
Radical
great.
inclusive love. I
Yes.
absolutely love it. Radical inclusive love. Thank you
Yeah.
for this beautiful conversation. It has been a gift to be here with you. And just know that, there's so much good in this world, and we are here to celebrate it here at New Thought Media Network. We are here to know that truth, and we celebrate it. And know that you can go to ntmedia.org to circulate. We are here on this platform because of people just like you. And you can reach out to me anytime. I am on Facebook, as well as you can reach out to me at Gina at cslboston.org. I am blessed to be the spiritual director of the Boston CSL. And we are also here on Sunday evenings. Our Sunday service is available on 5 p.m. Eastern Time on New Thought Media Network. So thank you for being here with me. And thank you. And I wish everyone watching wonderful holidays. You
Happy
know,
holidays.
be in, choose to find the joy in every day. We get that option. And if you're struggling with that, and then reach out to a
Reach out.
practitioner, reach out. Know that we are here on this network. Know that we are here in our global community, that there are people that love you and will help you find that joy again. So until next week, blessings and love.
Peace and
Namaste.
blessings.